Hello everyone, I'm academician Dr. Lilia. Welcome to Science and Me YouTube channel. The mission of my channel is to introduce you to popular science and to create a popular science encyclopedia on YouTube. We are back with an interesting popular science video. I would be very happy if you support me by subscribing to my channel and writing a comment. If you are ready, let's start the video. Forensic science plays a crucial role in solving crimes by applying scientific principles and techniques to gather and analyze evidence from crime scenes. Forensic science is the application of scientific methods and principles to the investigation of crimes and the administration of justice. It is a broad field that encompasses a wide range of disciplines, including biology, chemistry, physics, and toxicology. Forensic science is the application of scientific methods to the criminal justice system. Forensic scientists work closely with law enforcement agencies and medical examiners to examine the scene and gather evidence. They then analyze this evidence in their laboratories and provide their findings to the investigators. It involves the collection, preservation, and analysis of evidence to identify suspects, determine the cause of death, and reconstruct crime scenes. This field encompasses various disciplines, including biology, chemistry, physics, and more, to provide objective and reliable information that can be used in legal proceedings. Here's an overview of the role of science in solving crimes through forensic investigations. Crime scene investigation, CSI. Forensic scientists are often the first responders to crime scenes. They work alongside law enforcement personnel to document, collect, and preserve physical evidence. This evidence can include everything from fingerprints and bloodstains to hair and fibers. Physical evidence analysis. Many types of physical evidence can be analyzed in a forensic laboratory, such as firearms, drugs, explosives, and trace materials. Specialists in these areas use scientific techniques to identify, classify, and compare evidence. For example, ballistic experts can match bullets to specific firearms, while toxicologists can determine the presence of drugs or poisons in a victim's body. DNA analysis. DNA analysis is one of the most powerful tools in forensic science and is used to solve a wide range of crimes, from homicide to sexual assault. It can be used to identify individuals from blood, semen, saliva, and other bodily fluids. It can link suspects to crime scenes, identify unknown victims, and exonerate wrongly accused individuals. DNA analysis involves extracting and comparing genetic material found at the crime scene with samples from potential suspects or DNA databases. Fingerprint analysis. Forensic experts analyze fingerprints left at crime scenes to identify suspects. Automated fingerprint identification systems, AFIS, are used to match prints found at crime scenes with those in criminal databases. Fingerprint analysis is another important tool in forensic science. Fingerprints are unique to each individual, and they can be used to identify suspects and victims. Fingerprint analysis can also be used to link a suspect to a crime scene or to a weapon. Ballistics. Ballistics is the study of the motion of projectiles. It can be used to identify the type of weapon used in a crime and to link a suspect to a crime scene. Ballistics is the study of firearms and ammunition. Forensic ballisticians can examine bullets and casings from a crime scene to determine the type of firearm that was used and, in some cases, even the specific firearm. Forensic anthropology. In cases involving human remains, forensic anthropologists can help determine the identity, age, sex, and cause of death of the deceased based on skeletal remains and other evidence. Digital forensics. With the rise of technology, digital evidence has become increasingly important. Digital forensics experts examine computers, smartphones, and other digital devices to uncover electronic evidence, including emails, texts, and files, which can be used in investigations and court proceedings. Digital forensics can be used to recover data from computers and other electronic devices, which can provide investigators with valuable evidence about a suspect's activities. Bloodstain pattern analysis. Experts in this field analyze bloodstain patterns to reconstruct events at a crime scene. This can help establish the sequence of events and the positions of individuals involved. Toxicology. Toxicologists analyze bodily fluids and tissues to detect the presence of drugs, alcohol, or other toxins that may have contributed to a crime or death. Toxicology is the study of the effects of poisons on living organisms. It can be used to determine the cause of death in a homicide case or to identify drugs or alcohol in a driver's system. Forensic toxicologists can analyze blood and tissue samples to determine if a person was poisoned and, if so, what substance was used. Forensic science is a constantly evolving field, and new technologies are being developed all the time. This allows forensic scientists to more accurately and efficiently analyze evidence. Forensic entomology. In cases involving decomposed bodies, forensic entomologists study the life cycle of insects found on or near the remains to estimate the time of death and gather other valuable information. Expert testimony. Forensic scientists often provide expert testimony in court to explain their findings and help the judge and jury role in protecting the rights of the accused by providing objective evidence that can either incriminate or exonerate individuals. As technology and scientific methods continue to advance, the field of forensic science remains at the forefront of solving crimes and delivering justice. Crime scene reconstruction. Crime scene reconstructionists use their knowledge of science and forensics to piece together the events that occurred at a crime scene. They can use evidence such as blood spatter patterns, bullet trajectories, and witness testimony to create a timeline of events and identify the suspect's movements. Forensic science has revolutionized the way that crimes are investigated and solved. By using scientific methods to analyze evidence, forensic scientists can provide investigators with valuable information that can help them to identify suspects, determine the cause of death, and reconstruct crime scenes. Here are some examples of how forensic science has been used to solve crimes. In 2013, police used fingerprint evidence to identify James Holmes, the gunman who killed 12 people and injured 70 others in a mass shooting at a movie theater in Aurora, Colorado. Holmes had left his fingerprints on a gun magazine and a notebook found at the scene of the crime. In 2009, police used ballistics evidence to identify Omar Mateen, the gunman who killed 49 people and injured 53 others at a nightclub in Orlando, Florida. Police were able to match the bullets from the crime scene to the gun that Mateen had purchased legally just days before the shooting. In 1994, O.J. Simpson was acquitted of the murders of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman. However, DNA evidence was later used to link Simpson to the crime scene, and he was convicted of murder in a civil trial. In 2002, the Washington sniper attacks terrorized the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. 10 people were killed and 3 others were wounded in a series of random shootings. Forensic scientists were able to identify the suspects, John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo, by matching fingerprints and ballistics evidence from the crime scenes. In 2018, Joseph James DeAngelo was arrested for the Golden State Killer murders, a series of unsolved murders and rapes that occurred in California in the 1970s and 1980s. DeAngelo was identified using DNA evidence from the crime scenes. The killer had never been caught, but police were able to use DNA from crime scenes to identify him as Joseph James DeAngelo, a former police officer. Forensic science can be used to answer a wide range of questions in a criminal investigation, such as, who was present at the crime scene? What happened at the crime scene? When did the crime occur? What weapon or tool was used to commit the crime? How did the perpetrator enter and exit the crime scene? Is the suspect linked to the victim or the crime scene? Forensic science can also be used to exonerate innocent suspects and prevent wrongful convictions. For example, DNA testing can be used to prove that a suspect was not at the crime scene or that they did not commit the crime. Forensic science is an essential tool for solving crimes and bringing criminals to justice. It helps to ensure that the innocent are not punished and that the guilty are held accountable for their actions. Forensic science is a constantly evolving field. As new technologies and techniques are developed, this allows forensic scientists to solve crimes more effectively and efficiently, and to provide even more compelling evidence in court. Overall, Forensic science is an essential tool for criminal investigators and prosecutors. It helps to solve crimes, convict criminals, and protect the innocent.